We'll call the meeting room to order. Would pray with me and we'll open with our invocation. Dear Heavenly Father, here tonight, just allow us to make decisions and allow us to do the best that we can possibly do for our county. Lift it up, be with all of our armed services, be with our country and lift it up and allow us to do everything you would have us to do. Thank you for all you do for us. In your son Jesus' name we pray. Amen. First,
Before you start, I would like to point out that there is errors on the agenda tonight. It has to do with numbering. Number 6 was omitted, throwing 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 off by one number each. I don't know that it makes any real difference, but if we're tracking this, there is no number 6 tonight.
Thank you very much for pointing that out. All right.
I want to renumber those, Mr. Chairman, just to move each of them back, make 7, 6, and so forth from there.
Very good. All right, first thing, we've got a consideration of an ordinance to authorize a one-time premium pay to essential county employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees, law library employees, and commission deputy sheriffs employed as such. From funds received from the American Rescue and consents.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Got a motion on the floor with a second. Is there any discussion?
It says that commissioned deputy sheriffs employed as such, they're excluded. So what does that mean?
I can't hardly hear you, Ray.
What does that mean? A commissioned deputy sheriff employed as such?
Employed as such, that means commissioned deputy sheriffs that are working as a deputy sheriff.
Okay.
They're excluded due to the increase that they received earlier this year. The sheriff's aware of why they're excluded from the premium pay because they received a large, other employees did not.
Okay. I just thought I'd better ask.
Yes, and we've had the sheriff and I have had that conversation before we did the raise for them, and that's the route he decided he wanted to go.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we shall vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Number 3, we've got a consideration of an ordinance to authorize a one-time premium pay to essential county employees with the exclusion of all elected officials, poll workers, election commissioners, equalization board members, county library employees, employees who receive the full premium pay from the ARP fund, law library employees, and commissioned deputy sheriffs employed as such from funds received from the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act Fund, CARES Act Fund. This ordinance will require a $39,968.94 appropriation for employee salaries and benefits. These are new employees in 2023 who do not qualify for the ARP fund premium pay.
I move we send it forward, Rainey.
Second, Esther Dixon.
We've got a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion?
These are employees that did not fit into the line from the ARPA premium pay. They were not working here during the time period when it was recognized. However, for retention, we try to do the same for all.
Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Motion carries, ayes have it. Next, we have the consideration of an ordinance to amend ordinance 2332 to correct a Scrivener's error in section 2 to comply with the county judge's request. In the second whereas, the county judge requested part-time money, and in section 2, it was noted as overtime money. A transfer will correct this error.
I move we send it forward.
Second.
Got a motion and a second? Any discussion?
This is a Scrivener's error that was just recorded wrong. It won't change the budget, and it just have to be transferred out of one fund into the other.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next, we've got a consideration of an ordinance to amend the 2023 Garland County Budget Ordinance 2257 to anticipate revenue, appropriate, and transfer funds in various budgets. We'll break it down into parts here. Section A, the county judge deposited $15,626.08 with the treasurer in the county road fund to be appropriated in the county road budget and transferred to the county road and bridge improvement fund. These proceeds were from an insurance payment to reimburse the county for damages to Herschel Road.
Move for approval. Dixon.
Second. Hunter.
Got a motion and a second for Part A on number 5. Any discussion?
This was repairs on Herschel Road after we had freshly asphalted it. A gentleman loaded 2 bulldozers up in the middle of the road and did this amount of damage to it. We've received a check from the insurance company, and the repair has been made by Spy Asphalt, who turned the bid in.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, motion carries for Part A. Part B. The sheriff requests an appropriation for $6,500 in the county general fund to the sheriff's budget to renew an investigation software package.
Move approval.
Got a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, motion carries for Part B. Letter C, the sheriff requests to appropriate $12,297 in the Selective Traffic Enforcement Program Grant Fund for overtime and benefits.
Move adoption.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The number 6 item, as it's corrected, consideration for a transfer of $4,913.81 from the small equipment line item to the machinery and equipment line item in the county general fund assessor's budget to pay for.
Move for approval. Dixon.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Number 7, consideration of a transfer of $500 from the computer software support and maintenance line item to the machinery and equipment line item in the county general fund computer IS budget to pay for additional costs for a switch.
I move we approve it. Have a question?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Discussion.
Judge, what kind of switch are we buying for $500?
Well, that's a cheap one, actually. It's, they're switches that go in your IT lines. Let's just say, for instance, your hard wires that come in here for your Ethernet, things of that nature. They're switches that house those so that when they come into an office, then it can branch out of that switch and go to all the stations in the office. It's they call it a switch, and to me, it's not a switch, but that's usually what goes bad when we have a problem. We have an electrical short or we have a surge in our power. That's usually where it catches all the problem because it's where the hard wire comes in with the Ethernet or the fiber, and it's then from there it branches out to all the stations in that office is where it branches out. Kind of a splitter is what I would call it. But it's electronic and it monitors everything, and it's there for a long time. They were extremely difficult to get. We couldn't hardly get them. As a matter of fact, the city of Hot Springs had to loan us one when we had a power surge because we lost one in the circuit clerk's office. So they loaned us one until we could actually get one in because they've been on back order after back order, as many other things have.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Next, we have a discussion on the upcoming bid to rebuild the 70-volt transfer station.
Mr. Chairman, that probably doesn't need any type of vote before buildings, public works and buildings, environmental services already. Chairman of Public Works and Buildings, Mr. Hunter, have met me out on site and we've looked it over. I emailed each of the finance members a copy of the engineered estimate on it. It came in at like 1.77 billion, I believe. I saw a couple things on there that I had some questions about, so I reached back out to Craft and Toll. I also spoke with his to do a final review of that analysis in the next couple of weeks, and then we will try to get it advertised in November, open bids in December, and hopefully award a bid by January, and then hopefully 30 to 45 days after that, we should be able to start construction. It's going to be in the cold of the winter, but there's not much other way we can do it. There's just a lot of steps to go through, and it's a pretty involved process, and we can't afford to shut down. We're going to have to take care of it. So it's going to be a painful operation all the way through. But I don't know. Nub, what do you think? It'll take 8 months to do it?
Good weather, the interruption trucks and construction will be a big thing.
So, the current one we have there, not just the fire damage, we've got about 400,000 in insurance proceeds to go with that bid. So we will probably be less than 1.5. We had about 250,000 figured in there for contingency. The floor in the old transfer station, if you hadn't been out there, I mean, it's worn through down to the rebar. It's just had so many times going across it. We've already rebuilt the floor in the one on 7 North transfer station, but this one has never been done. It was due anyway, and this is just, we might as well go ahead and do everything while we're in there and get it up for growth, because that we're getting more trash out there than we can take care of. It's just, if anybody's got any questions about it, I'll be glad to try to answer them. We're waiting on Craft and Toll to try to go over the final time with the structural engineer, because it does have one place that there's a suspended slab with the truck pull under it. We'll have a piece of equipment stationed on top of that, and we can load 2 trucks at once. It'll be a little smoother operation, a little more streamlined, and it will hopefully speed the process there and make it a little safer. Right now, the gentleman that's working out there is working in some pretty adverse conditions. It's a porta potty and no lights, and it's right now it's starting to stay dark longer in the morning, so it's becoming a challenge. But he's on top of it, and he has a positive attitude about it. So that's all we know.
Very good.
Judge, but when you sent that notice out, you cautioned us to be aware of the fact that the cost might run different than what is shown on this. And Justice Hunter made some good observations just about the kind of things that will impact it. But over and above that, do you have any thoughts about what we might see?
So, judging from what we've seen in the past, Engineered estimates on our safe room from 3 years ago was $558,000, and we bid it 3 times. And the lowest bid we've got so far was 1.1 million. That's why it's not done. However, our Surrey Road Bridge that we bid, the engineered estimates were 1.17, and they came 1.12. So it actually came in a little bit under. Now, the restoration we're doing on the 4th floor, we had believed it would be about $500,000, and it came in at 411. So things came in just a little bit under. There are quite a few unknowns in that are probably going to cause some changes along the way in the 70 West Transfer Station. However, that we've got a pretty good contingency figured into the engineered estimate. If we get the bids in, I'm hopeful that we'll get more than one bid, which is a problem we've had lately. We've just been getting one bids. But initially when it burned in April, we had 4 contractors go look at it. 2 of them didn't want to do the job. One of them said that they could do it for about $490,000, replacing the metal, replacing the building, and the other one was $630,000. So it's kind of a broad variance there. We've seen that in the past on our landfill itself. The last bid we took to open this last sale that we opened, they went anywhere from $350,000 to $650,000 throughout 4 bidders. And you wouldn't think that there could be that much variance, but theirs was strictly because of where they had to get the clay for the liner material. But I really believe that this is it's an engineered structural building, so there's not going to be a lot of variance there. Working while it's open is going to be one of the things we can't really figure in. But I hope that it will actually come in under budget. Hopefully things will slow down a little bit by the time we get it bid out. We are starting to see a little slow down in building, but I'm hopeful that it'll come in under. But like I say, Larry, we figured a contingency there for the unknowns and the things that we got to move. There's some on-site pump stations that we've got to move, some things of that nature. But thankfully, we can go ahead and operate until we get all that worked out. And we'll know in November, December where they're at. And if we have to go back and make changes to fit in our budget, we will. Fortunately, we've been able to put money back to try to take care of future needs. We just keep running into problems with trying to get equipment for the landfill. Today, I got notice that the trucks that we ordered in May of 22 were designed to be built in August of 23. Now, one of them will be built in April of 24, June of 24, and then they can't tell when the last 2 will be built. They went up about $10,000 because they're going to be 25 models rather than 24 models. And at this point, I'm going to try to order a 5th one because I don't far out of school for those. And these are for the day cabs that haul the trash back and forth. I talked to Billy today, and we're going to have to go back and increase our maintenance budget because we anticipated having new trucks to run through next year start now. And we're not going to have those until late next year. They won't even give me a build date on the 2. The issue came in with frame rails. What I was told was a gentleman that owned the Mack dealership that we got the Sourcewell deal from made the decision to send all the frame rails that they could to build trucks for California, which has an emissions deadline that they had to meet. So they built every truck they could out there, and they streamlined every frame rail that they had to the trucks built for California compliance, which left the ones that are being built here out. I've called everywhere, I've looked everywhere, and of course we can find other ones, but they're about $60,000 a piece higher, and I'm not going to do that.
Very good. Moving on, we'll hear from the Hot Springs Metro Partnership, Gary Troutman.
Gary, normally when Cole comes and speaks, he brings food with him for us to snack on while he's speaking.
That's really
Did
nice.
you happen to bring that tonight?
I did not,
Thanks, Gary.
but now that I know for next week. Thank you, Chairman Brazil. I want to commend you on running a tight meeting. Judge, as you can appreciate, a great staff. I want to first recognize, got 2/3 of our staff tonight at the Chamber and Metro Partnership. Appreciate them coming. Got Mark Curry, our chair for the chamber in 2018, and fellow board member with Dr. Brian at Lake Hampton School Board. And we got Ralph and Carol both, Carol's at Department Board, and Ralph and Carol are both great chamber members. Just appreciate them coming tonight, their interest in proceedings. Since we met last month, um, Gary Jackson and I attended the Garland County Superintendent's and Education meeting at the Hot Springs Admin Building. Got to talk to them about workforce and how we want to get in the schools. We had a follow-up meeting, and I'm proud to say at their request, of the 5 aviation companies. Remind you again, they're all competitors that come together and a lot of commonality. I like to point out the story. I'm sorry, it's a moment. Tony McKinley at Cobalt Aero made a comment to the judge at Friday. He said, "Look, there's 5 of us in town. There's no reason we can't all get along. And if you find a young man or young woman that wants to be in the aviation industry, if they don't work out at my business for some reason, I'm happy to, share them down the line." So, you don't see that a lot with competitors. It was refreshing to see. Scott Dews hosted our board meeting on the 14th. I know this is a partnership report, but I've got to tell you, and I know there's so much hype about the solar eclipse. We hosted a lunch and learn and we were going to have it at the chamber, and we quickly found out that was a bad idea. We had to move it to Crystal Ridge. We wound up having 86 people. So just a lot of interest, and April will be here before we know it. We resumed an old tradition. Ashley Bennett is the new foundation director at ASMSA. She brought the 12 student ambassadors to the chamber to learn what the partnership and the chamber do. Vicki and Cole and I get to meet with them. I want to commend Adam Webb here to my right. The judge has set up the Garland County Broadband Committee, and Adam's got that running. Cole and I are honored to be a part of that and attended the first meeting. We hosted our MSA group meeting with the folks from the village and from Malvern and Arkadelphia. It was my turn to host. We had that at Sam's Pizza this past month to talk regional economic development. Been telling you about a big project for 2025, which is about as much as I can tell you, other than ran into it in Atlanta at a consultants meeting. We have since had 3 Zoom meetings, and I know we're not at liberty to talk a lot about what we do, but 3 Zoom meetings is strong. That tells us that a program is really serious and on track. And we had our last one just the other day, Thursday, but I was in Dallas week before last and got to meet with a lady from the company. So it's nice to have those Zoom meetings, but it's good to shake hands and look at somebody in the eye every once in a while. So we're happy with that one, and I can't wait to tell you in 2025 all the details. But that's all we can do now. Mark and I were just remarking, because of travel and other things, haven't got on the bypass till today, but oh my, it was fantastic. So congratulations to you all involved. I think partnership and chamber had a little bit as well, but man, it is impressive and it's beautiful. And just really looking forward, Larry, to the commerce that's going to close the gap between the village and Hot Springs. Just get here in no time. Also anxious to see what it does to downtown traffic with 18-wheelers and taking that out of downtown. Gary Jackson met with the first gentleman. We're still trying to get used to saying that. But met with first gentleman Brian Singer about workforce development out at Mountain Harbor. We our Majestic Committee went to Northwest Arkansas and had a meeting, our committee, along with Les Warren, with a couple.
We went and did, Gary. We have a timer on there for.
Okay, I promise I'm trying to wrap it up. I knew you would, Judge. I've got good stuff, though. I got to keep going. We had the Arkansas Broadband Leaders Zoom meeting. in the eighth grade. Maybe a little bit more in the bargain for classes of 28 each, but we had a great time. We talked about a lot of the company, a lot of what you hear me talk about up here, about 5 aerospace companies, about Alliance Rubber being the largest producer of rubber bands in the country, about all of that. I mean, Popeye's chicken sandwiches is made at Gary Foods right here in Garland County. You know, it's neat to hear that, but these eighth graders really took it. And I have a spot inside the White House. So history teacher, we were there on Monday, and she said, I'm sitting here in history class on Thursday, and these kids are still talking about you guys doing out there on Monday. So very enthused about that. I talked to Justice Brazil. We're going to be in Mountain Pine next week. We're still trying to get them covered this week, but we're taking all of the 6 other students for October and early November. We're going to go back in the spring with panels with company representatives and get them on the program. So, just super excited about that. I wish I could convey to you how exciting that was. We're all excited. Saw the headline. Those of us at a certain age will remember Coy's Steak. I was really glad to be coming back to the hotel in the spring. We had a Zoom call on our Sharp Foundation grant and finishing up. We're honored to attend the Garland County Leadership Prayer Breakfast in the morning, and everybody got their alarm set. I know already. We've got a draft day meeting tomorrow for 2024. We've already got the dates, April 17th and 18th, again at Lake Hamilton School. Gary Jackson and our team is hosting on Wednesday. The proceeds this year will not just benefit ASNSA, they'll benefit 8 schools for folks going the traditional 4-year route, but also 7 scholarships for those going to career route, either 2-year vocational training at National Park and or straight into the workforce. I would remind y'all, or I hope you'll all come, invite you this morning to the elected officials appreciation breakfast Thursday morning. And, you know, I hope we all appreciate National Park College. It's been your 50 years. It'll be a big celebration. So big week for growing again. And that's that. This is our report.
That's been here 50 years.
It's been here 50 years.
Wow.
Even I remember what that dressing tastes like.
Yeah, we probably do, Gary. I'm not going to talk about food. I'm trying to lay off of that.
Just
We need to vote on that report.
Oh,
Move
that's
to
right.
approve the report, Dixon. Move to approve the report.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, or actually, do we have any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Ayes have it. Motion carries. Getting ahead of myself.
That hay balin's getting on your mind. It's
Yeah,
going to be too dark when you get home tonight.
definitely.
As you can see, our numbers are still good, still showing a increase. If you look at your overtime report, you'll see that September was down. August is 3 pay periods. March is written in the report. If you look at your sales tax numbers, they're still increasing. We had a good month last month. Had a good year so far. The landfill is still operating at an all-time high as well.
Those overtimes and like the landfill, that there's about 3 of them or 4 of them that really run high, it seems, every month. Does most of this go back to the point of just not being able to find qualified employees?
Some
I
of it
guess I'm
did.
looking for how can we get beyond the overtime. I don't think you'll ever get away from it 100%, but, you know, I'd like to improve the situation. So I'm trying to figure out a thread that runs through this.
Sure. And if you look at the numbers from the landfill, let's just take it for instance. If you look at the numbers from the landfill over the past 3 years, you'll see a steady increase to where it's producing nearly 3 times as much now as it was 5 years ago. And so we've added a couple of labor positions and one floater out there as far as a truck driver. Um, we have people off and people call in sick and adverse conditions. And, you know, we have a spring fling event. We have several things that require them to work on Saturday. And that landfill operates Monday through Saturday. It's a 6-day a week. So it's difficult to get past there without creating another position or another group that would work out there. So that's most of what it is. There have been some times over the past 2 years that we have been 3, maybe 4 employees down, which have created a large increase in overtime. That's the same with the detention center. If you look at the numbers, they're getting better. If you look at our overall picture in September, it was the best it's been in several months, actually several years. But I don't know that it's directly related right now to not being able to get people to work, but it's directly related to the amount of volume that's coming through the landfill as far as solid waste goes. At the road department, we've had several issues this year that we've had about 4 heavy rainstorms. We had a flood on the north side of the county, and while they're working 410s through the summer, I go ahead and utilize that opportunity on Friday when the weather's good to try to get caught up on some of those items that were washed out and some of the culverts that have failed because of that flood, which creates overtime there as well. So when we've got good weather, we have to try to do the work we can.
Thank you, sir.
Anybody's got anything further? If not, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn. All those in favor, get them going.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.